Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time. As always, a thank you to Lurks, our feral venerator of Surain. We very much appreciate the support.
So today, what we are going to talk about is, of course, one of our favorite topics, queer characters. But specifically, it's going to be queer characters who come from modern media, whether that's books, TV shows, movies, anime, video games. I don't know if there's any video game characters, but that's the point of talking about all of our favorites. It's going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. Who wants to get started? Yeah, we just we were trying to figure out what to talk about for this episode, and we're like, what's something we can probably all rant about for a few minutes each? Let's just go with our favorite queer characters. Yeah, in recent media, and there it is. Does anyone want to get us started? It's funny because before the recording, we had literally had a 15 minutes discussion about some of our character, and I'm like, how to get back into that conversation that we already had but did not record.
I know. Do you want to go first, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we were talking about we shared our characters beforehand, and we talk about the Wheel of Time and like how thirsty we are for crumbs of representation in there. So like when we see an Aes Sedai or an Ashaman who's like vaguely stated to be gay, we're like, yay, representation, hooray. But like when we were talking beforehand, all of our choices sort of reflected who we were, which I think is great because it means that there's diversity and inclusion in media should be better and should like continue the climb it's having. But like we've reached a point where like we can pick characters who like sort of reflect who we are in our life story. So the first of mine is probably going to induce some groans because it can be a divisive fandom. But Charlie Spring from Heartstopper is mine. He's great. I love Charlie. I'm not sure have both of y'all seen Heartstopper?
I still haven't. At one point, I'm going to catch up on all those things that I've said that I will watch. But
you gotta watch it.
It's cute. I understand, like, some people like really want queer cinema or media to be like angsty and like raw and stuff, and like, but it's fine that we have G-rated queer media. In fact, it's good. I think we should have, and I think we had this discussion with queer media in one of our book channels in the Discord. Like, I have a bookshelf that ranges from G-rated queer media to like the smut, and all those things are valid.
The smut.
The smut. The smut's very valid. But Charlie is one of my favorite characters. I love him in the show and in the not the anime,
the comic,
the show and the graphic novels. Yes.
Yeah.
So like I identify with him a lot because he was bullied in high school, and I was bullied a lot. Not so much in high school, but because by the time I got into high school, I had a real sharp tongue. And could hold my own, but
you?
I know. A queer person who has a sharp tongue as a defense mechanism.
Fighting wit?
But in junior high school, it was bad. It was really, really bad. And I actually, I stopped eating a lot in junior high school and parts of high school. I don't think it ever developed to the point where it does with Charlie's story, but like when I see that story develop in the Netflix series, and that like, yes, men deal with eating disorders or get to the point where they can approach that because of the things that they face, it resonated with me. I don't want to like get too deep into everything, but like he and I share a lot of commonalities with like how we grew up, and it's nice to see a kid who shares something in common with my experience, like getting to be happy. And of course, he's biracial or multiracial. I think the wiki says multi-ethnic. His mother is white and his father is from Spain, like a dark person of color from Spain. And that's also my, well, not Spain, but Mexico. So yeah, that's Charlie is great. I love him. I'm not like one of those people who's like, what is it they call these days? Stans? I don't know what a stan is. It sounds unhealthy. It sounds like something that you need to get checked out, maybe.
It's only unhealthy if you get to the point of that Eminem song.
Yes.
But as long as you're not there, that's fine.
As long as you're not stalking them or cyber stalking them, I think you're good.
No.
Have you seen that stalkers and like Taylor Swift has? And like even Taylor Swift cannot get a restraining order that actually works?
Listen.
Come on.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But listen, her fans, they need to all join like they need to create a detective agency because they are a little bit too powerful maybe.
They're terrifying.
Their ability, it's terrifying to unify and work together. Like they could change the world, I think, if they set their mind to it. I don't know.
Listen, y'all, there's a reason that I do not say that I don't care for her music in public.
You've just ruined it. You just said it, Matt.
I will say she has. I do not care much for her. But she has this AI thing, this deep fake thing with her pursuing artificial intelligence. If Taylor Swift is the thing that causes the downfall of AI, I will become a Swiftie. You can hold me to that. I will never like her music, but damn it, I will buy her CDs and I will play them in a different room where I don't have to hear them and then tell people that I'm playing her music.
You'll play the song on Spotify on mute.
Yeah, that's right.
If she destroys AI, I will so become a Swiftie.
Okay, back to the topic. I'm sorry, I had to.
Sorry. But no, I love Charlie Spring. I don't know if y'all have opinions on him.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, he is. So I completely agree. Like, I think it's really important actually, because so the feeling I got when I was watching Heartstopper was like, I wish that this existed when I was a kid. Like, I would have loved to have. And the thing is, like, what I think a lot of queer people, like specifically adults, need to realize, not everything is for you.
Right.
You know, like it's and that's fine. It's not all for you. And so if you click with it, if you connect with it, great. If you don't, that's fine. It doesn't mean that the media is bad. It means that maybe it's just not for you.
We're not at the time anymore where there were like one queer movie per year, and if you did not like it, that was your only possibility to get any sort of queer representation.
Yeah.
We are luckily in a situation where even if there's one show you don't like, you can probably find something else that you do like.
Exactly.
I cannot guarantee that you will find a show like with like 7 seasons that gets an happy ending and this kind of thing. But you should be able to find a lot more different queer character than we used to. So it's fine if there's one series you just don't like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think it's good to show, like, you know, it's cute. They're teenagers. They're teenagers in high school. And it's very cute. It's very sweet. It's like, I was brought to tears watching Charlie, and I always forget what's the other boy's name?
The golden retriever.
Yeah.
Nick.
The golden retriever puppy. Nick.
Yeah.
They're so cute and they were so sweet, and I thought it was very, like, you know, high school, or at least to some people's high school experience, accurate. And yeah, it's just it's delightful. I completely agree with you, Matt. He's I think it's really important to see characters like that.
I love how the show like also really ups the side characters who were side characters in the graphic novel. Like if Tara and Darcy and Elle and Tao are side characters in the show, it's like only barely, because we get so much sapphic and trans and Tao.
It's so funny. Tao is just kind of there, which I love. It's great.
There's a joke that's like of all the characters, and they have like a flag. Like there's the lesbian flag and the gay man flag and the pride flag and the trans flag and the bi flag. And then there's Tao with the British Union Jack over him because there's no Tao flag.
No, he's just there. He's just there and doing his best.
He's just Tao.
And he's learning to love and support his friends, and that's great. That's important too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's mine.
Mhm.
My first.
That was very cute and pure.
So, Kat, what character do you particularly fancy?
Okay. So I'm trying to decide who I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with Captain Raymond Holt, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, played by the ever delightful Andre. I always mispronounce his last name. Brockner. I can't pronounce his last name.
I think Bauer.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. I mean, for the actor is, like, by all accounts, a super delightful, just incredible man.
Beautiful man inside and out.
Yeah, and just like unbelievably talented. Just unbelievably talented. And to see a gay black man on, like, a network television show,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that very often. And especially in
Yeah.
a position of power,
Mhm.
he's in a position of power as well. And like I appreciated the way that, because obviously Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a comedy, but the jokes that they made were always like, he was always in on the jokes. And so they would take,
Yeah.
like they would do things like, he would say jokes repeatedly were like, the worst thing about being a gay cop, black cop in the NYPD is like the discrimination. And like people around him would be like, what? But like other people who are also queer would be like, yeah, I get it, it's funny, we get it.
Mhm.
Like, it's, and so he was always in on the joke, and that was also not like his entire personality. Like, if you were to ask someone to describe him or like who he was, it would be like he is very stoic, in quotation marks, because not always. He is very like, he likes very bland things. I think one of his favorite things to eat is like plain toast, which is like plain toast and water is one of his favorite breakfasts. Like, but he is also warm, and he takes like this ridiculous young man under his wing and is
Yeah.
so loving to him, and like, but in a way that's like, he doesn't allow him to get away with his nonsense, and he encourages him, and he just builds the most beautiful relationships through the show. And when another character on the show comes out, Rosa Diaz, which is also a fantastic character, when
Yeah.
she comes out, like, they have a really beautiful moment where, like, she's struggling because her family isn't quite accepting yet, and he's like, what you've done is important, because when you like come out and you like show everyone who we are, like, all of us win and all of us
Right.
shine. And it's just like, I just think he's such a beautiful character and so funny. Like, it's, if you seeing him at the beginning of the show, you get a very different impression of who he is, and then as his character progresses, it's all around fantastic character. I just love him so much.
Mhm.
It's really a character that, like, you can see how much care the show had for his character,
Mhm.
like the writer room and elsewhere. And it was very well developed. I thought it has to add like a very lovely relationship with his husband in the
Yeah.
show, and I think it was like kind of healing to see that kind of relationship on screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really like this character too. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I loved Andre Bauer. I was that one really hit me hard. That celebrity death, because he did so much, I think, as a person and as an actor.
Yeah.
Just like you can't encapsulate like someone's life in just a few minutes, but he was something really special. And I loved Captain Holt. He was in a position of authority, and unlike a lot of shows that include queer characters and queer characters of color, he was never the butt of a joke in a way that was disrespectful to his identity. Like, I think they played pranks on him, but it was like, because he's the boss and that's what you do
Yes.
with the boss.
Yeah.
But they always respected him, and you could tell that he had respect. And to see that, and to see him not reduced to a stereotype, not reduced to an object of joking, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And frankly,
Yeah.
we still don't see enough of that.
No, it's like, and yeah, that's the thing. Like, he just, there was a lot of care that went into his character, and just him. I think him as an actor brought a lot to that character too, and just like, um, he was almost Shakespearean in the way that he played the character, which makes sense because he has a theater background, and so he plays him
Right.
like some of the moments would be so dramatic for a comedy, but it worked perfectly. And like I mean, one of my favorite moments is when he goes undercover and he is pretending to be a straight man, and his idea of being a straight man is talking about how women have thick, weighty breasts and how much he loves them.
Oh man.
I remember that episode.
That's his idea of it. That's his idea. Meanwhile, he's power walking. He's power walking in the gayest way possible, and he's talking about how much he just can't help. Like it's just so funny. Like, and he just delivers everything with so much gravitas in like a way that you wouldn't expect for a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Ah, that's a good character. I had not thought about him when I was trying to find out characters because I don't think I've actually finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine and I haven't watched it in a while. So it didn't really come up to mind. The first shows that kind of came up to mind for me were very cartoon show. So I don't know what, like Matt was talking at the beginning of the episode, every character we picked were very a reflection of who we are, so I don't know what that says about me, except that I'm still a kid.
No. I think but there's nothing. I think it makes complete sense because I think it's not so much that they're animated shows. It's more so the types of characters that they are,
Yeah.
because the types, both characters that you chose, I think it makes complete sense why you gravitate towards them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like both show, I watched them at a very specific period of my life. The first show that I wanted to mention was Shira and the Princess of Power, and the two main characters, Katra and Adora. And that's a show that I started watching a few months before the pandemic. So it was already like at season 4, something like that. And the season 5 was about to come out a few months after, during the pandemic. And I remember like watching that show, talking with a few friends on Discord about it and being very excited. And then when the last season came out, we all watched it all together and binge it in an afternoon. And the thing is that it's a show that you can, with more knowledge of it right now, like when you look back at it, it was so gay from the start. And the relationship between those two characters are obvious. It's obviously queer from the start. It's a best friend to enemy to lover relationship. And yeah, when you know that it's where it's going, it's like, yeah, it's obvious that it's where it's going to go. But it was at the time I saw that, like, it was kind of not imaginable that they will actually do it. So when that last episode came out and you get finally a kiss between those two, it's like, whoa, we finally got it.
Especially for an animated show, unlike cartoon, because it
For
was
real.
For an animated show,
Yeah.
it's been, I mean, the other show that I wanted to mention was Korra, The Legend of Korra. And in that situation, the queer relationship is not technically in the show, even if it's very much suggested in the show. It's canon in the comics after, but it was a time where they wanted to make that relationship obvious and could not because of the animation world at this time.
Yeah. They thought I really do salute a lot of the creators for shows like She-Ra and Legend of Korra and even like Steven Universe. They fought so hard. They fought so hard to get representation and they won in the end, which is fantastic.
I mean, every little win that the show had allowed the next show after it to have bigger wins. Like,
Exactly.
I don't think She-Ra and the Princess of Power would have been what it was if The Legend of Korra had not tried to push the boundaries at first. And yeah, I love Korra as a character. I know she gets bashed a lot, and I hate that because she's strong. She's a dumbass. She's a bit of a himbo sometimes. And I love
she's
that.
100% a himbo. 100%. My God.
She doesn't think.
No.
And I'm like, girl, I love you, but think, please.
She has bless her heart, she has a single brain cell that is there, and sometimes it's super powered and it's working real well, and then other times it's it takes a little bit of a day off, and that's fine. Who hasn't been in that situation?
And on the other side, like her girlfriend, Asami, is like a nerd. And she's so smart, but also badass. And yeah, I love both of them and the relationships they have. And it's funny because they basically both dated the same guy and then ended up together. I'm like, yes, girl, go for it.
I know, it's great.
And yeah, and Katra and Adora in Shira were like, I mean, in the first season, there's literally a ball scene where they're dancing together, and you're like, please kiss. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Kissy kiss.
and it's hilarious because like the colors that is in the background are very much like lesbian or bi flag. And there were also queer character in that show too, but when they're minor queer character, you can always fear that the major are not going to become queer.
Right.
But I mean, you can see that it was like Andy Stevenson, the creator of that show, that was their intention from the start. And they definitely hid that intention from like the main execs, like the higher ups, for a while, until it was just, you could not go back. It was there, everyone was seeing it. You may have missed it because you were watching that with very straight eyes, but everyone in the queer community got it.
Yeah.
And no, you cannot just not do it.
Yeah.
And by the time, like, from the first season to the fifth season, like, enough time had passed that it was becoming, like, it was more okay for them to go with it. And then we got it. And I love that, like, that realization between the two. It's Katra saying to Adora, don't you get it? I love you, I've always have. And I'm like, yes, don't you get it? It was there from the start.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really love them. I need to rewatch because it's very much a comfort show.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're cute.
They're very cute. They're very, very cute. Matt, do you want to do your next person? Your next character?
Yes. So they're two, but they're a package deal. 2-for-1 special.
2-for-1 gay special.
2-for-1 gay special. It's Aristotle Mendoza and Dante Quintana from the book / now movie, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which would actually be a really good book club book at some point.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the book is set in 1987. 2 Mexican American boys, they meet at a swimming pool and they have a friendship that just blossoms. It's hard to really like nail down what sort of story it is, because in some ways it's a slice of life novel, in some ways it's a romance, but in most ways it's a story about friendship. But it also deals with like issues of Mexican American identity and how that intersects with, sexuality and things, and gender roles and masculinity and toxic masculinity. And Ari is the more, it's hard to, you don't want to put them in like, I'm trying to think of how the phrase, like in a lot of relationships, there's like, or a lot of queer male relationships, there's like the mask one, and then there's like the smaller, like the femme one, like which is a valid, way of representing queer male relationships, but it's not the only one, and it's one that we see a lot, like the quiet shy kid and the jock. But with Ari and Dante, it's not like that. They feel like they're just 2 kids who discover each other and discover like friendship over the course of a summer, and Dante is much more in tune with himself, and he rejects masculinity from the start. I mean, I wouldn't call him non-binary, but he rejects like the idea that because he's a Mexican American boy, he has to like present masculinity. He has to be tough. He rejects that, and Dante doesn't at first. But they sort of complement each other in such a beautiful way. And the story, like, it is a romance, but the story is about their friendship, which I find to be much more compelling than your typical YA rom-com, or just your typical rom-com in general, where, like, first act they meet, second act they discover that they like each other, and then there's the end of second act breakup. There's a misunderstanding that totally could have been prevented this way or that way or the other. And then at the very end, they come together. This book is just focusing on, and the movie that focuses on their friendship, and the struggles with that, the struggles with, like I said, masculinity, Mexican American identity, which again is something that resonates with me a lot. My mom's family's from Mexico, despite the fact that some of them would like to pretend that never happened, and to pretend that we totally came over legally, ignoring the fact that back in the 1920s there wasn't the insanely ridiculous immigration policies that we have now. Anyways, not that I have thoughts about immigration and Mexican Americans, but yeah, that's Dante, or Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is a phenomenal book, and I recommend everyone read it. It is a story of two not white queer boys in 1987 discovering friendship, and it's beautiful.
It sounds very sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your the characters that you've chosen are very representative of you, I think, too, Matt. Like both of them, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think
It is. That's a compliment.
Kat says very sweet, and then that's am I sweet though? Am I? And then I realized that it's all.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it.
You're a sweet boy, Matt.
I realized that the mean Matt is just a front to protect my heart.
Yes.
Yes, of course. And we know that because we've been
I'm bad at it.
talking with you for so long. And,
Yeah.
no, it's not you're bad at it. It's you.
No.
You're a friend.
No, I'm bad at pretending to be a grump.
Mm-hmm.
Pretending that I don't have a soft. Well, I am a grump, but I'm bad at pretending that I don't have a soft heart.
I think for people who don't know you, I think it's easy for them to be tricked, for them to be bamboozled by it.
That's true.
But when people get to know you, they realize very quickly that that is not the case, in fact.
I'm all bark and no bite.
You're, in fact, a soft boy. A sweet soft boy.
Oh, no.
See? He's like, oh no!
You would like to be the Grinch.
Oh no!
But even the Grinch gets cooked.
The Grinch.
Kat, do you want to go with another of your characters?
So my second one is Annalise Keating from the show How to Get Away with Murder, played by the legendary Viola Davis. I think, like a lot of people, I watched. So there was, what were the three shows? How to Get Away with Murder, Grey's Anatomy, and Scandal. They all came on Thursday evenings by Shonda Rhimes.
Rhymes? Yeah.
Shonda Rhimes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people who was glued into that show, and the reason, I mean, I would say 85% of the reason that I started How to Get Away with Murder, like a lot of people, was for Viola Davis, because she was kind of, I think, one of the first big name actors that was in just a regular network television show. It wasn't something you saw all that often, and she was kind of one of the first batch of actors that did it, which was kind of cool. And so you got to see her in television every week, and from the beginning she was messy and she was complicated, and super, super compelling. I remember the episode where, I think it was the fourth or fifth episode, where it ends with, she's asking her husband, why is your penis on a dead girl's phone? Which is I remember when that happened, everyone was like, oh my God, what?
I remember that.
What? Yeah, it was a huge moment. And so from the beginning, she was a super compelling character to me. And then you find out that she has an ex-girlfriend that she knew in, I think it was, they knew each other in law school, or just when she was starting out as a lawyer, and at a time where she wasn't as damaged and she wasn't as traumatized, because she goes through a lot. And you find out that she's been through a lot. And that's the reason why she is the way that she is, and she's very she can be cruel. She's very hardened, but it's all for a reason. um, and then you get to see her at a time where there's still this like beautiful softness to her. And that's the time when you get to you see that she had this whole relationship with this woman, and they come back and they try and rekindle things, and it works for a little bit, but because it's a drama, things never last. But
It's a Shonda Rhimes show.
it's a Shonda Rhimes show. Exactly. Exactly. It's a Shonda Rhimes show, and she thrives in chaos. She loves the chaos. But like
The
it was
chaos.
oh no. She loves the chaos.
Sorry.
But it was, I think for me, it was one of the first times that I've seen like a big high profile actress, specifically a black actress, in like
Hmm.
playing a queer character, and specifically a bisexual character. Like I'd never really seen that before, and it was, I mean, I remember when that was revealed, people were like, what? Oh, what? This is happening? This is actually happening, because how often do you get to see that? I mean, back then,
Hmm.
now it's a little bit more, you see it a little bit more often, but it was groundbreaking to see, and to see her, you know, just be just as messy and just as complicated in her relationships with women as she was in her relationships with men. And, it didn't just stop with Eve, who was the ex that we found out about, I think, in like season 3 or something like that. She has relationships with other women in the show. And so it's not just like a one and done thing. She is a fully realized, very complicated and messy queer black woman. And she is all of those things at once. Um, and did they always do it perfectly? No, definitely not. But there was an attempt made, and they put it's obvious that there was love put into the character, and they wanted to stay as true to the character as possible. And the reality was the character was very messy, and you knew that it wasn't. I mean, the show's name is How to Get Away with Murder. You knew that it was
Right.
probably not going to end the greatest, but you know, it was quite honestly groundbreaking to see a character like her on like network television, and not just network television, like a high profile network television show. It was, yeah.
Yeah. So because when we were talking before the recording, you mentioned How to Get Away with Murder, and I didn't know there was queer representation in that, especially with like Viola freaking Davis.
Yes.
Like it's
Mm.
she, especially like for a long time, actors in general, like mainstream character, didn't really want to play like queer character, because there was always a risk of being then like
Typecast.
typecast
yeah.
as queer characters.
Mhm.
And now you can see like more and more like big names being like, yeah, no, that's an interesting character, so let's go with this. There's
Yeah.
still some actresses or maybe actors too that kind of have a tendency to get a lot of queer characters.
I think now though it's kind of because they want to, like, because Rachel
Yeah.
Weisz. I feel like someone like, you think of someone like Rachel Weisz, when she gets a script and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, a queer woman, okay, I'm in. Like it's almost because it's more so that like, not so much that they're being typecast anymore. It's more that like, this is a compelling character, and also I like it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I was thinking same thing with Serene Jones.
Yeah.
With Gentleman Jack and Vigil, and I think another thing.
There's been a couple other things, yeah.
She had an interview very recently in Diva magazine, I think, and where like it's a queer magazine, so she was being asked like whether there was like a specific reason, whether it was because she likes those characters, and she was like, well, those characters are very interesting in general, so yeah, it's a pleasure to play them.
Yeah.
And yeah. Same thing with like Rosamund Pike.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was gonna say.
I
yeah.
care a lot, and
Yes.
I was about to say Queers of Time, and now the Wheel of Time.
I have to say, Kat, you picked two intimidatingly gorgeous actors for your.
I know.
I'm looking up their bios. I'm like, God, Damn.
They're both so beautiful and so unbelievably talented. Like just
For real.
unbelievably
Yeah.
talented. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have another characters I could mention. I was about to mention someone else, but then Matt mentioned video games at the beginning, and that made me think of Chloe Price in Life is Strange.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know that video game.
Yeah.
It's starting to get a bit old. When was that released? Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
2010, maybe?
I feel like it feels like it was just like a couple years ago. I know it was long. It's been
2015.
Goodness
So-
gracious.
Yeah, and it's not a happy queer story. Kind of. It's complicated. It depends what you're doing. That the game in general, like this game specifically, the first Life is Strange, is definitely like it's not a happy game. There's some very heavy subject being talked about. There's a lot of trauma, a lot of various things that I actually have never finished the game. I watch it played and this kind of thing, but it gets a bit too emotional for me. But I still loved Chloe Price as a character because she was so gay and so unashamedly gay in a way, and yeah, kind of badass and kind of a bad girl vibe, which I have done a cosplay of Chloe Price, and that's pretty much the only characters that I've done a cosplay for.
Oh.
So,
I mean, I think I speak for both Matt and myself. I think we need to see those pictures, Camille.
I'm pretty sure I already
Yeah.
sent
Did
them.
you? It's possible.
But I may send it to you again.
Send it again.
I may
Might have to
share
do
them
that.
in
Yeah.
the Discord. But yeah, it's a great character, and I mean, I kind of love that the game basically end on are you gonna break the world for your girlfriend or save it and get rid of the girlfriend, and you kind of have to make the choice. And even if I never reach the end of the game, I know which one I would make, because I would break the world with no hesitation.
Absolutely. This world? Absolutely, yes.
Sorry, Old Town, I loved you, but bye-bye, I guess. And also, like, the comics that follow the video game are very cute, too. I don't think they're entirely finished yet. I need to check that. But yeah, there's a lot of messing up with time and parallel timelines and this kind of thing. And it's cute. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
I tried playing Life is Strange back when it came out, and it's far too intense for me. It's too much for me. I need games that are a little bit.
You need some heavy trigger warning to play that game. Like,
Oh, very much so.
was it? I think it's at the end of the episode 2 where you have to basically save someone, and depending on how much you add, like depending on your previous decision in various situations, and depending on whether you had looked up the good information, it's very easy to make a mistake that have such huge consequences. Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just discovered way late to the game, I know, Stardew Valley, which is very cute and wholesome. Well, it's wholesome until you like stumble on one of your romance options who's like sprawled out drunk on the side of a cliff talking about how life has no meaning. But other than that, it's very wholesome. It's very wholesome. You can romance people of either gender with no boundaries. There's lots of farming, lots of cute little animals, and you get to I don't know, it's very cute.
Dragon Age 2 is like that in the sense that you can romance people, like any of your romance options. You can. It doesn't matter which gender you are. Dragon Age 2 is so chaotic. It's a very old game in game standards. It's very old now, but it is delightful. It's so much fun to play.
Have you played Baldur's Gate 3?
This is the thing. No, I haven't. It is on my list of games to play. It's so freaking expensive. I just can't justify it right now as a purchase, but it is on my list to play because I have heard there's some good gay stuff in there.
Yeah, I started it, but I may not be a good person to play it. So
Oh no.
For our poly friends out there, the game Hades, where you play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, you can romance a guy and you can romance a lady. You can romance them both. And when they find out about it, they're like, okay, let's all just be together then. And you can also romance a talking snakehead, but that's something else.
I mean, listen, representation matters, even for talking snakeheads.
Representation matters even for sentient talking snakeheads.
Exactly.
With anxiety issues.
Okay.
Oh my god. anytime animals are brought into the podcast in terms of that, Camille's like, okay, can we please talk about
Please
something?
don't fuck the cat.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, I think that about wraps it up.
I think so. And on that note, we can.
And on that note, thank you very much for listening to this episode of The Queers of Time. Let us know what your favorite queer characters in various media are. If we'd like to know about them, and maybe that give us more to read or more to watch.
You're not allowed to choose Santana or Brittany from Glee. Choose someone else.
Or Kurt.
Or Kurt from Glee. Choose.
And Blaine.
Let's
God
just
help
say
it.
nobody
No
from
Glee.
Glee. No Glee. We're doing a Glee ban. Continue.
Yes.
Because we already did an episode on Glee, so we cannot do anymore.
We can't do anymore. We can't talk about it anymore.
And our therapists are still traumatized.
Exactly.
I am still traumatized, okay? I don't have any therapist anymore, but I'm still traumatized.
Oh no.
What else? If you want to find us, well, we have a Discord that I sometimes get surprisingly active. A few days ago, I woke up to 70 messages to read or something like that. And I was like, what happened? What happened? And it was a delightful conversation. So I was glad to read it when waking up. We are also on Twitter, sometimes on Tumblr. I don't know.
When Kat remembers to post, we're on Tumblr. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot blame you because I have access to the Tumblr too. I have access to all of the account, and I'm like, I'm finally, one of the tier on Patreon is supposed to have access to our unedited video recording of our episode, and I haven't posted any of them since August, I think. So I'm slowly re-downloading the videos, and I'm gonna upload them slowly in the upcoming weeks so we can catch up with the podcast. But it's life got busy. Okay,
listen, life got busy. It's January. We're doing our best. We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah. And yes, if you want to support us, we have a Patreon with some benefits.
Keyword is some.
I cannot say whether they're good or not, but
listen,
the lower tier give you access to those episodes with a few days in advance, which I think is a great benefit because you get all the juicy stuff in advance. And that's it for me. Anything else to say?
No.
I don't think so.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.